is this? Okay, well, welcome to Psychic Frank's Mystery School. It's all about Mars. It's all about Mars. So I'm a psychic healer who uses astrology and numerology and the tarot cards. And like I think most, it should be a requirement to be a healer. And Mars is so if you're into really like daily astrology and everything, Pam Gregory, Heather Ainsworth or something, Molly McCord. I mean, there's a lot of female astrologers out there who are really, really good. I don't know. I have a moon in Taurus in the 12th house. I just have this thing about female astrologers. I like men astrologers, but there's not that many good ones. And the ones that are out there aren't really into psychics, where like Pam is and Pam Gregory and Kathy Rose. There, many are talking about third eyes opening up and Kundalini energy when when Uranus and Taurus hits the moon. It's all kinds of Kundalini energy stuff. You don't hear that with any other men astrologers I experiment with, because life's for learning. I tune in a lot of guys in, but anyway, but as I said, but I do use astrology, and for me, the 900-pound gorilla in the room is Pluto's opposition to Mars. Because whenever Pluto does a trip with any kind of an aspect with Mars. Yeah, this is distracting me now that I started off. Okay, let's do this. With like in this case, it's an opposition, Leo Aquarius. The first one happened on November. Second one, the 3rd of January, and now the final one is going to be April, the end of April. Mars represents how you chop wood, carry water, your modus operandi, how you use your energy. And every 2 years, normally, it will enter a constellation, a sign, and stay there for 2 months, where Venus' orbit is a year and spends a month normally. But occasionally, these planets, Mars and Venus, will, like a lot of planets, go retrograde, which means appear to go backwards. It means it's time to do inner work, reevaluate things. So what's been going on now with Mars is all about we're slaves. We're human slaves. I mean, the workforce now, people used to have to, there was leisure time. I remember growing up in the 40s and 50s. Where there was leisure time. I mean, guys got vacations. My grandfather got a gold watch. He didn't even speak English, but he binded books for Doubleday. He was really proud of his work. I remember sitting on his lap. I was only 4 or 5. I digress. But the fact is. Along came Ronald Reagan. See, they couldn't handle the upper class there, the rich, because that's the morbidly rich. That's a sport for them. Politics is a sport for them, and they got real frightened when the statistics came in that the middle class was reaching the high 60s, almost 70. That scared the bejesus out of them. So what they did was got Ronald Reagan. The big con artist. I was just watching this morning on Democracy Now! With Amy Goodman. They had a clip of Ronald Reagan, actually, vintage clip of Ronald Reagan looking in the camera, talking about to America, saying how the Contras were our friends. They were rapists, murderers, they were just horrible people. That's why Harris lost the last election. We need to. Everybody, Harris and Joe Biden both. They mentioned trickle down economics. They did it in a really even Harris. I'm not just saying just because of his age, Joe Biden's age. But I've heard louder death rattles. I heard that before, but it was like, and I guess they, the message was, I'm ashamed, so I can't even say it out loud. But they said in trickle down economics, we're gonna, no, they need to scream that from the top of their lungs, and they have to spell it out. People shouldn't have to go searching high and low for the truth, the poop, and the poop was Ronald Reagan was, and then they said, well, he did this, he did that. How could you balance that? If Charlie Manson was still alive, he'd probably be head of something, head of public relations. I don't know. So, this glorified these airports still to this day with Ronald Reagan's name on it. It's like running salt in an open wound. Shake it off, right? Like Gandhi, I believe our anger is a healthy thing, and thank God I'm not on any kind of pharmaceuticals. Let's put it that way. Although I do believe in cannabis, and if I don't, because of this eye thing going on, I go blind. The eye surgeons told me that it's a macro-degenerative. But every time I'm turning on the TV and there's an ad, and I'm on antenna TV, because I really have to know what's going on in the world. It can't be filtered through cable, besides there's too much violence there. And they all say the same thing. And then fill in the blank. These are advertising schools that are teaching whoever's making these ads. They know that once you get people to own it, you got them hooked. There's no money in a cure, and hopefully Uranus is the Awakener. And here's the chart of the United States of America. The United States of America. And I also have, so what's going to happen is Mars went direct on February 23rd, 17 degrees Cancer. And now on April 17th, because all this month of March, Mars will be, all that Mars energy is going to be in Cancer. So all you Cancer folks now, it's time to recover from all kinds of botched early childhood experiences. Well, I call them botched, but they're very necessary. Sometimes it's not the experience, but how we were taught to treat these experiences. Like I remember, because I was adopted, and it was a botched adoption. I'd be sitting in astrology classes. I'm talking about a half a dozen. We're talking like 40 years ago. And I remember this one class I was sitting, with these little kids' chairs with the desk on them, and there was another microphone, and now it seems to be gone. Things are always changing around here. I just noticed it. Anyway, I would have my. I'll just leave that there. I'd have my. My birth chart on my desk, and then the teacher would go up and down the aisle and stop every once in a while and point to something on the desk of a student. And because I was taking a lot of astrology classes then. This was in the 80s and early 80s. And I belonged to the National Council of Geocosmic Research, who certifies astrologers, and they would tell me where the best astrologers were. And I was so gifted to be in a port like San Francisco, so these world famous astrologers would be coming to San Francisco, and for like a few dollars, I got to study with them. So. That's how I learned astrology in San Francisco. So anyway, Mars is how you so it's a lot of emotional stuff going on. Your emotional intelligence. That's what Cancer's all about, and then Mars will go back into Leo where it was. Before it went retrograde there on the 17th. It's direct now, but on April 17th, you might want to circle your calendar, and all you Cancer people will feel like, man, 1 or 2 months of having Mars in a certain sign is like, wow, especially when it first starts, you feel really, but then after like 6 months, it's like, okay, now I'm over it. Let's get it. Let's move on. That Mars can be taxing. So that's so then, as I said, this third and final opposition of Mars, the shadow of Mars is warlike. And how do you misuse a planet? Well, just look at the world we're in now. This is just simply how you misuse your Mars or Mars energy. I think it was a famous general who said war is telling us how badly we use how we use our human intelligence, that we permit war to happen. So as I said, Donald Trump, not Donald Trump, but Ronald Reagan was the biggest con going. As a matter of fact, his con is still running strong. Establishment. We need anti-establishment now. We need total anti-establishment. And Harris was just too establishment. Her whole life has been establishment. Yeah, the full moon, total lunar eclipse. There's two, a lunar eclipse and a solar eclipse this March. The end of the month, we have Neptune entering Aries. Yeah, this is really, really exciting. I made notes about this. I want to talk about this especially because it's happening for the USA is the big the big shift going on between the nodal north, the nodal axis, the north node and the south node, has to do with your soul's evolution. Well, I personally believe it's all about our soul's evolution, but particularly, regular astrology, it's all about who you are, money, relationships, career, this, 12 houses. But with the north node and the south node, it's all about the soul's evolvement. And that's, so right now we're no longer Aries north node, south node Libra. We're now North Node Pisces, South Node Virgo. So this is going to be that started the end of January, and it's going to go on for the next 18 months, for 18 months from then. So it's all about, for the United States of America. All this Cancer energy this month is all in our 7th, and on our Mercury. It's going to end up in our Mercury before it goes back into Leo. Mercury up here in the 8th house. See, we have the most intense, there's no more intense North Node, South Node, or houses than placements of that in the 8th house, 2nd house. Anything going on, they only give that to the oldest souls. So America's got this Mercury retrograde in Cancer, and Pisces is what's called an intercepted constellation. So we got to really need a key. And I'm giving you this key now. I'm telling you now, it's all spirituality now. The 21st century will be spiritual, or it simply won't be. I heard that around. A lot of people take credit for saying that. I can't take credit for saying that. But at first I went, no. It's, that's where we are now. There's so much I want to talk about. I have to slow down because, before I get here, I have, all this shift. See, the North Node, South Node goes counterclockwise. So for Donald Trump now, let me look at his chart. Yeah, he has a whole lot of Libra in his chart here in the money house. That's a surprise. And now the Virgo North Node is in his money house. It's going to be that way for a few months. And then it's going to go. So it's time to heal all this misuse of that Virgo energy. We've already done all we can with that in past lives. And now it's to go through this, bring that spirituality. And for him, it's all in the that 8th house, 2nd house still. So yeah, he's it's time to, nobody gets away with anything. Nobody gets away with anything. And for Musk, he's got this Aries. He's never going to grow up. The worst thing I think you could give a kid is, I hope my kid never suffers. Well, you want him or her to suffer from arrested development? This is important. Direct recognition of one's true nature, one's own nature. Whether you're gay, straight, psychic. Yes, psychics are, not remaining in doubt and continuing in confidence. Now, I just got something I want to definitely talk about, especially to our Mayor Lori. You think I forget about Mayor Lori? You know, I was very afraid that Mayor Daniel Lori was going to be part of that London breed cult of supervisors we got. I can't so away from City Hall, but definitely I was wrong. Who got their hands on Daniel Lori was Weiner, Scott Weiner, that Weiner. Oh my God. I'm not going to be Donald Trump and make fun of people's names, but come on, Scott Weiner, man. Grow up. Grow up. You know, a couple of years ago when he was part of our supervisors here in San Francisco, I'm looking for what's happening now. Okay, Earth is not a platform. Is not a platform for human life. It is a living being. We are not on it, but part of it. Its health is our health. We have to be focusing on so many healing things, and there wasn't enough gay bars helping, I guess, business going on. He wanted them open like in New York City, 24 hours a day, you know, and New York City, the city that never sleeps, just like Bogota, Colombia, you know. But that was then in the 60s. Yeah, Barbara Walters said, if it's true the world's a stage, San Francisco's the cast party, you know. But the thing is, this is not the 60s. This is where, you know, we need healing. I want San Francisco to be like the Lords of France, where people flock from all over the globe to get the hotels can bloom. There's so many beautiful healers now who are just sitting on their thumbs, biding their time, waiting patiently. Patience is a virtue you get to take with you. It's not many people appreciate the virtue of patience. Yeah, so what we got going on now, alcohol is toxic. The World Health Organization that Donald Trump just closed back in 2022, and the evidence has only gotten much stronger since then, and this is early March of 2025. The United States of America is in technically 2025 is 9, so we're in an 11 year. This is a year of revelations for everybody, and we don't want to reduce it to a mundane too, except when we're talking about finances, you know, taken from the needy, given to the greedy. So the risks back in December 28 of 2022, the World Health Organization published a statement in the Lancet Public Health. When it comes to alcohol consumption, there is no safe amount. This does not affect our health. There's no safe amount that does not affect our health. And the health organization, and I saw it on the local news this morning, that the heart organization, the World Heart Organization there, says alcohol is the number one, heart disease is they didn't say alcohol is it, they said the number one killer in America today is heart disease. Yeah, because of the alcohol, like Barbara Lewis, she's running for mayor of San Francisco, of Oakland now. When the camera was on her recently, she's then asked her about cannabis. She said, it should never have been made illegal in the first place. No, we got to get this, it was they had doctors back in the federal building. This was back right after 2015 when London Breed was in her mind that she was against harm reduction. She was definitely against cannabis. And she sent her posse of supervisors to this federal building, and it was packed. I tell the story a lot because I was there, and it was history. Nobody recorded it. The big wheel for a human being, a doctor who studied cannabis, and when I was so eloquently put, and people who came back from all these diseases, and of course their minds were made up before they walked in there, and everything was to the liquor industry. And you know, because as I said, oh yeah, and mushrooms is a sacred thing. Magic mushrooms is the most holiest of holy experiences. It should not be abused. And it's worth sharing this story because back when I was in the mystery school, I was clean and sober, and I had started smoking cannabis again because I always knew I was never going to drink again, but cannabis was going to be a real important part of my life. Has been since I was 13, but I digress. And the thing is. I was in the mystery school. I was in my early 30s and mid 30s, and Norma Tringali, bless her soul, said to the whole class, now once you're opening up psychically your third eye and you're working with Kundalini energy, don't artificially stimulate it with mushrooms or LSD or anything like that. Well, naturally, you know, I had to I don't know what she's talking about. And as fate would have it, I was walking down the street with my dog, and I ran into an old buddy of mine who worked for Putnam Publishing, a big he wrote all the Warhol. He was really instrumental in getting all Andy Warhol's People's books published. Anyway, he said, "Wow, I hadn't seen him since I was in New York. 10 years before that." So anyway, he gave me a little. He said, "I got something for you," and he put it in a little plastic. Some mushrooms, little tiny bits of mushroom. And he said, "Yeah, take, yeah." And I didn't want to explain to him what was going on, so I said, "Good to see you." So naturally, I took it, and it was the worst trip of my life. I was totally cut off from my guides, and I kept on saying, "Oh, well, just let me get over this. And I swear I'll never do this again." And it was really for me, because as I said, and to see and hearing many other stories like that, to Wiener, who's like, man, what's saying that it should how sacrilege. Like spitting in God's face. The man is ignorant about all that stuff. He's not a shaman. He's never seen it. He's not working in different states of consciousness and frequencies. He's working for money, man. He's got a slew of Taurus in his chart. The man is bisexual. B-U-Y. Money, 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 money. But that's enough of Scott. When I call him a putz, which is a Yiddish word, I guess, for dick, yeah, he is a wiener. We don't need alcohol. And keep your hands off of our mayor. Don't corrupt him with your juvenile, and Mayor Laurie, come on now, let's get the phones working. This is demonic. Are you aware what's going on in the world? If you're not on the same page with us, that obviously you know what's going on by now, that there's this psychic on cable access TV who's really begging you, pleading with you for the sake of democracy, get the phones turned on here. The media is all bought and paid for by the 1%. This is it. Do you capiche? Do you capiche what I'm saying? Do you hear the words coming out of my mouth? This is it, for democracy TV. And you're running around with the likes of that moron from, and now at least we got him out of the city in Sacramento, Wiener, who's leading you down this path of like, we need more booze, no, we need more vegan restaurants, we need more plant-based, which is happening now. I remember, I have friendly, some wealthy friends I see every decade or so. When they used to come to town and I was a vegan, I still am. It was like, I ended up with a salad. And then the last time I was here, a friend of mine was here and he took me to some really nice restaurants. It was a little better, but still it was like I felt like a freak. Well, now all the better restaurants have, it's happening. Vegan is it. Meat is murder. It's a killer, man. Life is precious. Life is precious. Alcohol is a toxic, psychoactive, and dependence-producing substance, and has been classified as a Group 1 carcinogen by the International Agency for Research on Cancer decades ago. This is the highest risk group, which also includes asbestos, radiation, and tobacco. Do you hear this, Laurie? Miss Mayor Laurie? And that web brain, that's the only thing I calm down, Frank. I was thinking this morning about Donald Trump. I go, has he been tested for syphilis? I think he might have a syphilitic brain. It's called syphilis. And I believe that's another story. Now, I'm not going to accuse Wiener. You know, he's just a wiener. He's just a stupid wiener, man. And stop it. Just stop it, man. Just totally stop it, you know, and leave our mayor alone and let him focus on, you know, let's have all the psychic healers come out of the woodwork, all the doctors that are pro-cannabis, all the doctors who are anti-pharmaceutical industry now. Who knows goddamn well if they told their clients, you know, oh, this is all in your mind. Or this or this, you know, or go work with a shaman, or do, you know, they'd get a lawsuit. They wouldn't with lawyers in love chomping at the bit. We're making money wherever they smell blood. They're like, psh, you know. So I could sympathize a little bit with you know, that there's no doctors that are, I think there's got to be a few that are vegan, and I don't know how they survive having to deal, how they bite their tongues. My tongue would be chop meat if I was going. What a horrible metaphor that was. Okay, so March 13th and 4th, we have a lunar eclipse. We're building towards that. I can feel it now. Without the feeling of love and without the faith and conviction that life in us is unobstructed, all the healing techniques of science are of little avail. I am strong and capable. I lovingly forgive and release all of the past. I choose to fill my world with joy. I love and approve of myself. Those are good things. Oh, roses are red. Weed is savory. The prison system is legalized slavery. I didn't make that up, but I found it in a book of notes I have. I relax and rejoice in the abundance, and rejoice in the today, and I claim my power. The abundance that is here now. Remember, a good affirmation is, my body is always working towards optimum health. Because if you turn on the TV, within 10 minutes, you're going to hear some actor or actresses talk about, and they're going to pour their heart out to you. Oh, and it's the way they pimp these kids for cancer research. Man, they're not happy doing monkey brains and you know torturing animals. Now they got real life human kids now, and you know, oh my God, it's God. Frank, let's not go there today. No, I got too much to. Oh yeah, about organized religion. I believe it's bullshit for the masses. If the world's faithful wish to, I read this in many other shows, but I'm going to do it again. Maybe it'll get through this time. It could happen, you know. Remember Judy Tenuta, a famous comedian? She had this accordion, and she would look at the audience, and she said, I was coming home from work the other day. It could happen. So, you could get this. It could happen. If the world's faithful wish to claim the moral high ground, they must understand and apply the ethics of belief. They must do what is right and courageous, identify their traditions, inhuman teachings, and speak out against them, and insist that they be purged from the canon. Indiscriminate acceptance of religious teaching is nothing but abdication of, it is an abduction too, an abdication of moral responsibility. I issued the same challenge to those who've fallen in with political ideologists. Commit to believe responsibly. Strengthen your mind's immune system. Only you can pride yourself on being part of the solution. Jefferson would go through the Bible and cross out boldly what he disagreed with. Yeah, so let's see what else we got. Put that over there. Oh yeah, because I was watching PBS the other day. They were doing this thing about the rainforest and how this one plant, and they speed up the amount, how it goes faster, and you see it growing like, and then this other plant, this parasite plant, wraps itself around it. Of course, you don't see it happen like that walking through the forest, but they speed up the slow-mo, and they make it with fast motion, and you could see it actually happening, and then the butterflies end up eating on this and all that, because they said on this one that curls around, I think it's milkweed, because the caterpillars and the butterflies get it, and they talk about this parasite has insatiable craving. Uh, 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 yeah, it's insane. And they said this parasite is an insatiable appetite. And I went, that's Donald J. Trump. He's a parasite with an insatiable appetite. And this one says the facts of life in Awakening the Buddha Within, Lama Saro Das. He says, tells us that there is a cause for life's difficulties, and that cause is craving. The Pali word is tana. It suggests a state of insistent, never-ending thirst, a craving that won't quit, because all of us constantly desire, hunger, and thirst for various experiences and different things. We continue to suffer. It's not that we have to get rid of the things we desire. The object is not the problem. It's our attachment to our identification with what we crave that causes suffering. A wandering 20th century yogi said, quote unquote, it's not the outer objects that entangle us, it's the inner clinging that entangles us. Oh, how the thought of you clings. These foolish things remind me of you. The thought of you clings. That's such a romantic thought. But yeah, you know, our inner clinging. Romantics love to cling to romantic things. Songs are written about it, these foolish things. People who misinterpret the Buddhist teaching often worry that if they rid themselves of craving, they will no longer be able to love or to live with passion. Quite the opposite is true. We will still have our healthy desires, but now they won't be contaminated and misdirected by insatiable craving. The Buddha never taught that we should feel love. In fact, he preached universal love and compassion. One entire sutra spoken by the Buddha teaches how we can learn to love, to cultivate loving kindness, empathy, and inclusiveness. What the Buddha taught is that we shouldn't try to own each other, nor should we become so identified or attracted to anything like money and power. Okay, we'll get back to him over the next couple of years. And let's see what else we got going on here. Oh, good, we got plenty of time left because I want to do the tarot cards for you all. If you're going to doubt something, doubt your limits. The mind is the caboose. When you're doing something different, your mind's going to come on like, no, do this. It's like that little Disney thing with the good angel and the bad angel. Don't listen to her. She never knows what she's talking about. Eat that animal flesh. Your heart and your gut are here to guide you as you navigate through the demons of your past and toward the angels of your future. I can't do any of this stuff alone. I made that. I became clear to me decades ago, and that's why I'm so into angels. So work with your angels. If you're going to doubt, love is the only reality, and it's not mere sentiment. It is the ultimate truth that lives at the heart of all creation. Yeah, your heart often knows things before your mind does. Kindness is the power even when fondness is not. Kindness is our power. So you don't have to be fond to use your power to forgive. Forgiveness is an attribute of the strong. And when Biden was fond of saying, we will never forgive, it's like, come on, man, you go to church every effing Sunday, man. Didn't you ever hear the word forgiveness? You know, what are you doing? Playing pocket pool there in the bleachers, what do they call pews? It's a good word. For me, organized religion stinks. No offense, just saying, just saying. Organized religion stinks. Why do you think they call them pews? Hey, I just made a funny joke, One day, Jimmy Carter's mother, Lillian, was interviewed by a reporter, hoping for a gotcha moment. The reporter asked, does your son ever tell a lie? Mrs. Carter replied, well, I imagine sometimes he'll tell a little white lie. The reporter pressed on, what is your definition of a little white lie? Mrs. Carter replied, well, when I answered the door and said it was nice to meet you. That's the South. That's the good part of the South. They could really, curse you up and down and then say, God love you at the end of it. Oh, Camus. I've become a real Camus freak. because really, he was totally like young. They didn't get him, and they called him his absurdism, his life. He said teaches us that through his absurdism that life is inherent worth, even if it has inherent worth, even if it has no inherent meaning. I don't believe that's true at all. Very different from nihilism, in which nothing has any meaning. His down-to-earthiness makes one feel that he is a kind of friend, guiding us on our journey of life, helping us to overcome our struggles with anxiety, depression, suicide. He champions life and asks us to live it to the point of tears. That's beautiful. Read Camus. The S is silent. The S on the bottom of that is silent. So we got to get, rockets, moonshots, spend it on the have-nots, inner city blues, Marvin Gaye. We got to start really putting an end to when I was studying in the mystery school, 40 years ago, I was taught by many lecturers and the teacher of the mystery school that in the future, NASA's only job will be to ward off comets. And that's what they're doing. Finally, they're getting around to realizing. So we got to just enough now with this. We're as far. I'm not being a wise ass here or spoiling for a fight. We are as far out of space as we will ever gonna get. Cheap thrills aren't cheap. The billions of dollars we're just sending into outer space. What could heal and feed and end so much suffering. It's ridiculous. And we knew this in the 60s. I think JFK, when he said, let's go to the moon, he didn't say, he did say and beyond. But, I think in beyond, I think what I hope he meant was, and then come back and use and realize that we have to work on, and beyond would mean healing this planet. The conditions are right here. They're romanticizing peeing in a tube, living with no trees in a bubble. No, this planet is alive, and we're killing it along with ourselves because of Madison Avenue and slogans and misinformation and lies, and there's no real poop. Nobody's giving, and right now we have, this is it. Cable access TV, SF College, which was created for people who fell through the net, who fell through the cracks. The cracks. Yeah. So, the 7 wonders of the world: to feel, to touch, to see, to hear, to taste, to laugh, to love. Let's practice that last one, the love. Let's start getting alternative healing centers. I'm sure there's so many Reiki healers, amazing. Everybody knows somebody. Oh yeah, I have a Reiki healer. Yeah, I mean they have to survive now by getting a few power. I guess wealthy or dedicated clients that support them. We all have our guides, but for the most part, that's only one. But there's so many other forms of healing, diet, nutrition, and because of the industrial pharmaceutical industry now, good doctors now that aren't just merely pill pushers. They're right there giving you prescriptions and telling you, but they're not going to be there when you die. That's something you can only do for yourself. My message to Mayor Daniel Laurie: don't be narrow. The 5th Roman emperor is among the most despised figures from history for his horrific cruelty to early Christians. And I guess us healers are, which you would call the hippie healers, the early, not the Nazi Jesus or the American Taliban, the Christian nationalists. No, we're talking about the early healers. And as legend goes, played a fiddle while Rome was consumed by fire. Well, the World Health Organization, Mayor Laurie, with all respect, and please, I'm not picking a fight with you. I haven't even met you yet. I'm just telling you now. Don't don't go down as narrow, you know, and realize now it's hard. What you're promoting now is going to kill people. I haven't had a hangover in over 3 decades at least. And as a matter of fact, every year I got to get a flu shot. The COVID shot, I don't have no reaction to, but that flu shot knocks me on my butt. I mean, the shivers, the dry heaves, and it's the worst hangover ever, and I don't even drink. You know, there was a song by Judy Garland way back. I'm always drunk in San Francisco, and at the end of the last line of the song is, I'm always drunk in San Francisco, and I don't even drink. You know, we can make San Francisco is not the place to get drunk and you know, cheat. And what was this motel in the Presidio? It was called Shenanigans. I would go past it on the bus years ago when I was doing a job out in Potrero Hill, in the Presidio, and I would take the 43 bus. And it's a beautiful ride, and then you'd go through Seacliff area, and there's Shenanigans. And I went, yeah. You know, when white people do this morally corrupt stuff, it's called shenanigans. When black people do it, it's evil, evil, evil. So, yeah, yeah, I'm saying, like, you know, the city's burning. We got, you know, cannabis can heal. Cannabis heals. Harm reduction heals. We have an ex-mayor who went out of her way to say right to the cameras, I'm against harm reduction. And you pretty much are filling her shoes now. And I was afraid you were going to fall into her devoted cult members and our supervisors in the current city hall, who probably still are up her ass. And instead, you're just falling in with, you know, you got the big cats on your ass now. You got Sacramento, but you know, it must be hard being you, Mr. Laurie. But come on, you know, listen, unless you're afraid that you'll get national attention and your life might be in danger, like District Attorney Mayor Garland. I believe the reason he, after several years ago, didn't press charges and insist that Donald Trump, because he was afraid to go to court then, was because he had death threats. They were threatening to kill his grandkids. So are you getting threats that if you give us telephone service, your grandkids, or do you even have grandkids? Is your life being threatened? Is there a good reason, Mayor Laurie, that you're not are just not awakening to the fact? Uranus is the great awakener. Ask a Taurus person who just is going through with a good 10, over 10 years of Uranus and Taurus now. We got one more year, a couple more months of Uranus and Taurus, another year, and then Uranus is going to go into leave Taurus and go into Aries. So I think we're going to reinvent the whole military industrial complex. Is going to go down finally. Get those sons of bitches under control. We have enough. I've had the right numbers here. We have, I don't know, the numbers mind-boggling. I mean, the numbers of nuclear weapons on this planet. We can blow this earth to smithereens. I mean, come on now. Let's start using, you know, enough with this technical, Einstein said technical advances, technological advances is like giving an axe murderer an axe. You know, technology is out of control now. And we can do something about it, man. You're in San Francisco, Mayor Laurie. You're the mayor of this city now. I'm expecting you to do some miraculous things, especially for the healing that could take place. And once again now, this will get back to you. And I hope some friends of yours will say to him, you know, you got blood on your hands, man, because you know goddamn well the World Health Organization knows it's a heart disease, cancer, and prisons. They're stocked full of guys who did something horrible in a blackout. I believe when people black out from alcohol, bad spirits, evil spirits take over their body and make them do this shit. So excuse my language. But, I couldn't do this at home with my parent because every time I get excited, she starts squawking and screaming. So she's probably really feeling, we're so psychically connected psychically, she's probably really still feeling it, feeling my energy for by the way, I gave her a kiss today. She goes like this, and I kiss her neck and blow raspberries in her little neck, and she coos. She does this little tiny coo, and I think she was telling me, say hi to all my fans. So yeah, maybe one of these days when the holidays come around, I'll do a mini YouTube show with Gabby from my home and upload it to my YouTube channel, which is right here, Psychic Frank's Mystery School. Okay, I'm gonna pick some cards for you all. And listen to Inner City Blues by when the first guys landed on the moon, there was going on in Harlem was the Harlem Woodstock, and they were they were really, the black community was totally against white man's technology, and while there were so many needy people and their money they were blowing out, and now black people actually believe that, because I saw this black guy on the news recently, and he said, God bless NASA. If it wasn't for them, our species would disappear. We need NASA. No, we don't. NASA. Help me, please, straighten this out. And when your kid, tell your kids, see that lake? There's none of that. It's going to be just like most people are eating food-like substances. Mayor, you could bring back victory gardens. You could have seniors growing weed in their little piss-in-the-sink hotel rooms. You could help them break away from, with doctors' help, you could help people bring, healthy cannabis. Cannabis is just a better class of people. Cannabis smokers but now the whole thing is thanks to Wiener. Now they want to mix cannabis. I can't blame them for the whole thing, the greedy industry. Now thanks to London Breed, they want to infuse cannabis with alcohol. Okay, capiche what I'm saying now. Cannabis enhances your senses. It improves your senses a zillion times. Makes you see colors that most people can't without cannabis, and to put you into different frequencies of consciousness. Alcohol is like a broken record. It dulls your senses. It makes you, it eventually will kill you. And if you don't do horrible things in a blackout, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, when you want to turn that civic center into, think of like all the, some countries like Lloyd's, say, Paris, and in France rather, where their economy is based on people, all kinds of conditions go there to drink the water. There's so many healers and so much happen. It's going to happen. It's going to happen by 2026, and then you're going to be a real asshole. Yeah, I don't know how else to put it, because you're taking advice from the biggest dick. He probably has a little wiener. That's why he's probably, a lot of tall guys have little wieners. I'm a gay guy. I've been around. I don't know what Wiener's problem is. Maybe, in your early 40s, you go through what used to be called a midlife crisis. Well, he's in his 50s now, but his early 50s. But but now people are living much longer lives. They're having 3 Saturn returns. It's not marry once, one commitment. They're coming in multi-relationships, one beginning, middle, and end, and then another one. Things are really accelerated now, and especially get on the by you trying to turn San Francisco's economy into a solely alcohol thing. You're just creating more disease. You're disappointing the F out of me is what you're doing, Mayor Lori. So hopefully it's not over yet. You've only been in office a month, so 2 months. So I'll give you some time now to start smelling the shit from the Shinola and start work with me. Come in here. I'm here the first and the third Thursday of Friday rather of every month, and or here's my email address. Send me. I'll make house calls. I'll meet you even at City Hall. But let's start getting back to start. Oh yeah, let's bring back to. Oh yeah, and as I was saying when I started this show, when London Breed took over as mayor. And I would call all these departments in the middle of the night and ask the noise department, why are they 2 a.m. constructing? And these buildings they were putting up, I guess there was a deal with London Breed that if they did it fast, they'd get more money for her or something, because they were doing this for like at least 6 months. 3 to 6, 5 months, whatever. And it was like 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. every night for at least 3 months. And I was on the phone at City Hall, and one woman at the noise department said, we've been defunded, and all the averages now, all the adjectives I'm hearing now that Donald Trump is disemboweled, removed. This department is still name only. I've heard all that from all the departments that London Breed took an axe to, took a chainsaw to. She did it, and all the City Hall supervisors are up her ass. They'll pat her on the back for doing it. Meanwhile, the residents now have to tolerate enough noise that could make you go deaf or drive you insane. Let's work on that, Mayor Lori. Let's start cleaning up the mess that London Breed. And she was just Ed Lee on steroids that's created this whole homeless thing. So let's stop focusing on the effect, and let's get to the effing cause. God damn it, man. You bumming the hell out of me. Because, as I said, when you heard you teamed up with that Wiener character, I went, holy shit, man. What the hell is he doing now? There goes all hope for Central Park. There goes all hope for bringing back the psychic fair in Golden Gate Park. There goes the metaphysical clinics for walk-in healings. There goes the learning how to teach cannabis to all. There's so many ideas. I could spend hours, and they're not my ideas. There's ideas that were told not to London. She wouldn't show up there. To her cronies, her loyalists, her psychopaths, whether they call them, who were on the board, that spit in the face of every educated doctor, lawyer, Indian chief, or experienced human being who knows firsthand the value of cannabis. This is what we need. You hear me? You hear me, man? I don't know what else to do. I'm standing on my head for you, man. We never met, so please, really, I'm 70. I'll be 77 this November. I'm the same age as Prince Charles. Born the same day, month, and year, and thank God I was raised. I mean, I was, as I said, the product of a botched adoption. But I wouldn't have traded for the world because I'm not you. You were spared a lot. You were spared a lot of the experience. I'm not going to compare you to Donald Trump. Of course, I would do that to a dog. But the fact is. You would hear things that would help the world if you would get these phones opened up now. So let's make that a priority, or make an appointment with me privately. I'll even sign a confidentiality thing saying I won't mention it to anybody that you came to see me. But or see another psychic. They all tell you what I'm telling you now. There's so many things going on now. And what's going to happen, I looked it up, it's going to be a good couple of years, actually a good 10 years before Uranus, Pluto's on your sun. But you're going to start feeling it a few years, 10 years from now. So as I said, even though you're in Aquarius and Pluto's in Aquarius, let's hopefully you'll get the transformation thing now. Yeah, the major card I'm getting now is people intuitively, like I say, myself and many other people now aren't taking pharmaceuticals or are using cannabis for everything, and let's get insurance companies to start paying for good medicine. By medicine, I'm talking about herb, good top of the line cannabis. Because as I said, the best eye surgeons of San Francisco. The fact is they couldn't say to me, "You got to smoke cannabis or you'll go blind." They told me you'll go blind, and then pointed to the vape pen in my pocket. And so I guess to cover their own asses, because I said I'm sure a lot of these doctors, I'm calling on the carpet now for being pimps for the pharmaceutical industry. And how do you, if you know these people, like say a client's a hypochondriac, or he's in a bad relationship, and you mention any of these things that, like, oh yeah, years ago when on TV there was in Noe Valley, they had a lot of TV ads. I guess they were gay women, and when they were doing an acupuncture clinic. And I thought, oh, maybe I could help out there. And I saw their ads a lot. And I told the story before, maybe you heard it. And I went there, and they made me sit in this room, in the lobby for this little place for a good 2 hours. And then finally, one of them had, I guess the leader of the pack, talk to me, and I explained to her about, I wasn't Reiki what I was doing, but I'm a psychic healer, I said, and I studied with Louise Hay, and Louise was still alive at the time. And I said, for instance, that you on your ads on TV, you're talking about sinus problems, sinus infections, and how you're very successful curing these sinus infections. Well, I said, according to Louise Hay, which is basically your ancient Chinese wisdom, sinus infections is somebody close to you irritating you. Could be a relationship, a work situation, or something. And if you confront your client with that, the sinus infections will cease and won't happen anymore. But then again, you wouldn't have a client. So of course they didn't want to see me anymore. I couldn't kick my ass out of there quick enough. Of course, they did it ladylike. So I'm saying now is, they said, well, how are you going to make? You got to trust. You have to have faith in life. If you love life, love will love you right back. What's going on is a healing crisis, and this is a major healing crisis, like one that happens every 12,000 years. But in a healing crisis, things get a lot worse before they get better. And I have a few more minutes, so I'll share a little story about Louise Hay, who could heal your life. She was a member of Science of Mind, and she healed herself with cancer, from cancer. And then she wrote, through doing all this research, and then she wrote a pamphlet, which is in this book, from A to Z, from acne to cramps to cancer, pleurisy, anything that could go wrong with the body, A through Z, the probable cause, and the new thought pattern that can, your throat. Our heart is our connection to the cosmos. So when you say these affirmations from your heart, you got divine, you got angels, you got ascended masters coming in for you. So Louise healed him. Long story short, she healed herself from cancer, wrote this book, went to the Science of Mind. Of course, back in the 70s, women couldn't get book published. Went to practice Science of Mind, I guess you call him a priest, and told him that with her recovery from cancer, wrote this book, and she's going to take her savings account money and buy these books, print up books, and go around and distribute them. And he said, well, how wonderful for you, Louise. Very patronizing. And then a year later, she came back to see him. He says, how did it go with your book? Oh, she said, I bought 10,000 and made 10,000. And he goes, $10,000 worth of, what are you, crazy? And then she said, but I got rid of them all. I rode up and down the California coast to every metaphysical church and doctor's office and handed these books. And then after doing all this, 4 years later, the cancer came back. And she was in bed. This time the doctor said to her, "Oh, Louise, it's worse than ever. You're not going to walk out of here. By the end of the week, you'll be gone. Get your affairs in order. Make sure everything is in order, because, it's just, it's hopelessly, insidiously within every part of your body now." And when he walked out the door, she was in this hospital room. She said she reached for her purse. And she told me this like I'm talking to you. And she pulled out her makeup kit and looked in the mirror. Her eyes are the window to the soul, as all of ours are. And she started affirming that, her affirmations on how to heal cancer. I release the past. They are free. I am free. And all these other things. And the rest was history. She healed cancer, got back on the road, and then I met her eventually during the AIDS epidemic. I heard that Louise was healing AIDS people, and I had to meet her and study with her. Okay, I wanted to talk about, but I think we're pretty much. Oh yeah, we did an hour here. I gotta go. I've had a ball. This was fun. Let me pick one more card before I go. It's a lot of power in the money you have. Let's use it correctly now. Your money is how you make a statement. Yeah, I'm going to have to target, have to, stay away from Target now, because Donald Trump has forced them to, segregate. Nonsense, whatever it's called. It's whole. Nothing changed, except this time it's going to take. Yes, a revolution's in the way, but it could be a non-violent, peaceful flower power revolution. And the flower power I'm talking about is cannabis flower, top grade. I love you. I love you all. Be back in 2 weeks, and my YouTube channel is Psychic Frank's Mystery School. And if you want to get in touch with me, psychicfrank11@gmail.com. Mr. Laurie, I'd say anybody, a friend of yours, anybody, a friend of Laurie's, Mr. Laurie, Mayor Laurie, I hope you took this from realized I meant no harm, but I love this city more than I love you, because I love you, but you know what I mean? Okay. Capiche? Goodbye. See you guys in a couple of weeks. How do we get this shut off now? Okay, here we go. Adios. Au revoir.